Teachers are the gateway to the future, and they are the most important school-based factor that determines effective learning outcomes. In line with the Sustainable Development Goal 4, which seeks to improve access to quality education, the Bunmi Adedayo Foundation continues to invest in professional teacher training and development, especially in public primary schools, through its various education intervention programs.
Does anybody want to tell me who ensures to take care of the children we put in primary schools? Does anybody here know who they are? Teachers, thank you very much. It was crystal clear to us that anything we did for it to have effect, we needed to look after the teachers. That if we looked after the teachers, they would look after the children. And it is a symbiotic relationship.
Despite the huge influence that teachers have on learners that pass through them, the quality and competence of these classroom teachers continue to pose serious threats to quality education and the learners in most developing countries. In Nigeria, poor teacher quality, among others, is one of the major problems confronting the educational sector. This fact has been established in international and local reports as well as literatures. In a bid to contribute to the development of public primary education in Nigeria, Bunmi Adedayo Foundation, as part of its education interventions, has been organizing professional development trainings for teachers and school leaders across Lagos State. Prior to the maiden professional teacher training by the foundation, a baseline study was conducted across randomly selected schools in order to understand the challenges that are peculiar to its project target beneficiaries. The result from this study led to the first teacher training workshop in 2016, which later became CITPPST in 2018.
The origin of that can be dated to 2016 summer, when we conducted a 2-week training program for teachers, for 50 teachers from 2 public primary schools. And the outcome of that training showed that teachers performed better in class. They had better grasp of classroom management, behavior management, task setting, teaching and learning process documentation in the classroom. So we then felt it was a good idea to expand the reach of this project. And in 2017, we went on to look for more schools in Lagos State, while in 2018, we ran the first edition of the CITPPST, which went on for 1 whole academic session.
In 2018, 268 teachers were trained, although only 185 teachers met the graduation requirements and got certified through this project. The percentage of outstanding teachers increased from 6% at the beginning to 37% at the end of the training, and performance of pupils increased towards 70 to 100% after comparing 4 terms. As a result of the huge impacts of the professional teacher development training workshops on both the teachers and pupils, the project was entered for a Google Impact Challenge as the Continuous In-Service Training for Public Primary School Teachers, CITPPST, and the foundation was awarded the grant to train more teachers.
I'm happy to announce to you today that this program was entered into the Google Impact Challenge competition, and we won the princely sum of $1,225,000, which will be strictly applied to this program over the next 2 years. The money cannot be used for anything else.
Although the grant was to train 750 teachers from 75 schools in 5 local government areas of Lagos State, a total of 1,064 teachers and head teachers in Lagos Island, Etiosa, Koshofe, Agege, and Ajeromi Ifelodun were enrolled and trained. Upon receipt of the grant, Another baseline lesson observation study was carried out by the foundation but led by Mr. Akin Alamu, the lead consultant of high-rank curriculum. 262 teachers from 42 of the 75 beneficiary schools were observed to understand their skill set and current status in working with children before the commencement of the training.
The parameters which we used to do this study centered around facilitating learning. We wanted to understand if the teachers were just dishing out information or they were involving the learners in the process of teaching and learning. We tried to get to understand how they were setting tasks. Were they setting challenging tasks or just giving the children tasks that will not make them to be thinkers? We wanted to understand collaboration. How were they leading the children to collaborate and solve problems? We wanted to see how the teachers were arranging their environment to make it to be conducive for learning. We, of course, saw how the teachers were using assessments to understand the process in order to improve on teaching and learning. And we saw how they were using behavior management strategies to work with the children.
The consultant and facilitators shed more light on the findings from the CITPPST baseline findings.
After we have done this study, the outcome, as I said, not very impressive. The outcome of the exercise revealed that 17% of the teachers were outstanding and 11% were inadequate, while about 33% requires improvement.
If these teachers continue to teach without immediate professional development and retraining, it will not only threaten quality teaching and learning, but also increase the percentage of primary school leavers who cannot read or write effectively.
In order to address the problems that we found during the baseline assessment, we came back to the drawing board. We launched a call for consultants and recruited IRAN curriculum, whose lead consultant is Mr. Akin Alamu. So Mr. Akin Alamu came on board and with the right support, and of course, we were able to design the assessment tools. We're also able to design the content that would specifically address the problems that we found. You can speak more to the technicality behind the content, the various aspects of the content, the activity, the codes, the group work, and what have you.
We designed a learning program. This learning program was segmented into 6 modules. The first 3 modules, which serve as foundation for the practical skills which we will be teaching them.
Also, we needed to infuse coaching and mentoring program in between. So that informed how we staggered the training. So we didn't conduct like a 1 week long marathon training for teachers. No. What we did rather was to break what would have been done in 1 week to about a year. So we developed 6 modules, delivered 2 per term, and taken across 3 terms. So we had 1 full session to deliver 6 modules. And while some may think this is a waste of time, waste of money, we felt it was necessary because it afforded us the opportunity to train them in person. And after that, we go back to their schools to observe them in the classroom as they teach and deliver what they've learned. It also afforded the participants the opportunity to learn in class at the training venue and go back to their various schools to implement what has been learned for another 4 weeks. They have a WhatsApp community where they can share their challenges, ask questions, ask the consultants, the facilitators questions, deepen learning and practice what has been taught for another 4 weeks.
Through the CITPPST, we are solving the problem of poor teaching quality and equipping participants with the 21st century skills. The teachers were exposed to relevant skills in teaching methodologies, effective task setting and assessment, communication, creativity, critical thinking, and collaboration, which are commonly referred to as 4 C's of the century: behavioral management and 21st century skills. Also, all school heads and assistants from the 75 beneficiary schools were enrolled in the School Leadership Program (SLP), where they participated in leadership bootcamp and were empowered with stakeholder management, vision building skills, among many others.
We just finished the workshop with the Bunmi Adedayo Foundation, and it was about 3 core elements that has to do with how school managers or school leaders will go about their vision statements, values, and then their mission statements as well. And I thought it was a laudable workshop, because a lot of times, I haven't worked with these school leaders in the last 9 years, haven't trained about 5,000 of them. There's a common thread that you will find. A lot of them tend to struggle with how to, cast the visions for their schools. And because of that element of struggle, the teachers that work with them are also finding it difficult to understand the direction that they're heading. So I think with understanding how their vision statement should be written, how their mission statement should also be written as well, and then the element around being able to communicate with their stakeholders, I thought that was also very important. And then time management, a lot of them tend to also focus on things that are not very, very, very important in terms of how they should prioritize their timing, especially leaving off the element of teaching and learning, which is the most fantastic or the most important element of school leadership. And I also thought the area of decision making and problem solving was also very fantastic. A lot of times they are caught in between problems and they don't know how to take decisions. So we've looked at strategies to be able to take decisions, to be able to identify problems, to be able to define them properly so that they can take the right decisions to solve those problems.
And I'm even more excited now that we are going further in Lagos State to train the head teachers. I've attended several trainings and it has been directed at the secondary school teachers, the principals, because and the manual is so rich, the course is so rich, and I see, like I was telling the teachers earlier, and I see Lagos State really actually taking the lead in Africa regarding education, particularly elementary, because they've gone to where it really matters.
And finally, I think the most important was how they build teams. Sometimes they struggle to work with their teachers, the community, with parents and with students. So I think the element of team building is also very important, so that when they have their vision, they're able to communicate that, work within a proper time frame, managing their time, and they're able to work with teams. Then they can solve problems properly and then take the right decisions that will help them go further with their leadership in schools. This is a rare but fantastic opportunity that BAF is offering school leaders, teachers. I mean, you can't find this anywhere. This is so rare. There are so very few organizations that are interested in teacher development or school leadership development. This is one fantastic project that I would say very laudable, and we will always want to be a part of it.
17 veteran educators and consultants were recruited to facilitate the in-class trainings across the 5 locations. These are what some of the facilitators have to say about the intervention.
It has been a wonderful experience for me. Apart from the learning opportunities I had with the teachers, I have personally learned on the different modules, and I have personal reflections that I'm also doing. What excites me so much about working with these teachers is the fact that you can see that a lot of them are passionate about changing. There are things that they don't know about being the 21st century teacher, but they are ready and they are willing to change. After doing the observation with some of them, I did a second observation and a third observation. I'm also excited about the growth that I am beginning to see in them. So in that area, I believe that BAF is doing a very good job.
And then from what the observation, it's really showed that there's been a number of improvements, a lot of improvement from what we saw from baseline, from what it used to be. There is now consciousness of class management, consciousness of methods to adopt, the consciousness of presentation of content, and then involvement of the learners, especially in terms of group work, collaboration, that improved, from where it was.
So a typical example of BAF success story is the story of Sandra, a primary 6 class teacher in Goriola Primary School 1. My first observation of Sandra's class was so traumatic. I was so held back. The class was as cold as a dead place. And most of the students were so scared of her, they could not respond. She was teaching English studies and none of them could make any response. And she was just there as the teacher, performing her role, being the only person talking in the classroom. And she was embarrassed at a point that the head teacher had to he wanted to come in and I had to tell him, no, we don't need, I'm just here to observe. And so I didn't give any comment, but I wrote in my rubrics what I saw. But let me tell you for a fact, last week when I went back for observation, I was wowed. Knowing that I had observed her again into the training. And now what I saw her doing last week was so transformational. She is really one of the teachers I'll give kudos to. She has moved from a 0-level teacher to an outstanding teacher. She now allows her students to take ownership of the class. They are involved in the activities. They are even involved in teaching and learning. They took the role of a teacher, teaching one another, and the class was so engaging. And it is worthy of note that this year our class has more students than it had last time I observed her. And she was able to manage the behavior very well. She was able to show delivery, very competent. The communication was effective. There was feedback. She was able to give appropriate and positive feedback to the students. And it's worthy of note as well that she has more confidence, more joy doing what she's doing.
My name is Ophili Edith from Musafeja Primary School, Uworo. There is a child in my class. Before this BAF training, their training is that the mindset is that the child doesn't know how to read and he cannot improve. Just for him to finish primary 6 and the drop out and go and start learning something. But after the training, we know that the child can learn, it can improve. Then we use the method we learned from batch training and brought the child closer, and the child is ready to have. Mohammed is now can read and he's even ready. He has even ready to go to school, not with force, because he has improved and he start enjoying school, education, start enjoying learning now. So he has even gone to they are among the people that's going to JSS1 now.
I've learned so much from the program. The first skill that will be taught, the communication, the collaboration, the critical thinking, and being creative. This has done so much well in making my pupils to enter the real world, involving the children, making the learning a real center, making sure that Lagos is progressing. And I say big thank you. Once again, a big thank you to BAF Foundation for the knowledge they've imparted to us. All what we've been taught on measurements, on evaluation, and assessment has made my life to change.
Earlier before now, once I just entered the class, teach. But now, through this training, I've been able to group my children into different groups. Before, I don't do that at all. But through the help of this training, I've been meant to understand that for easy communication, group your pupils. And I did that recently by grouping my pupils after fruits. One banana, the other coconut, the other apple, the other orange, and also collaboration. Once I give a sum on the board, I'll tell them, okay, apple group, work together, giving them some time. Then after that, they supply me the answer. But prior before now, I don't do that. I don't normally do that. But through the help of this training, I have been practicing it, and it has been helping me.
As part of the monitoring and evaluation components of the project, 3 post-training workshop classroom lesson observation and visitation was carried out across all 42 baseline schools. This was in addition to the pre- and post-workshop test and evaluation. The foundation also developed the Bunmi Adedayo Foundation Electronic Evaluation Portal (BIP) for easy M&E activities. Through BEEP, participants' attendance was easily tracked, and all teachers' ratings and comments from facilitators are uploaded by the facilitators into BEEP and synchronized to easily monitor their progress and improvement after every training. BEEP can be accessed at www.beep.bunmiadedayofoundation.org.
This portal covers various aspects of the project. One of the aspects outside the attendance feature of the BEEP tool, we have the one for lesson observation. Now, during lesson observation, our observers go into classrooms to observe teachers to ensure that whatever they've been taught in the course of the training that they've attended, they actually implement in their classrooms. Now, when they go into the classroom, they make use of the BEEP tool to rate the teachers using the rubric, and we have different parameters that they are being rated against. Now, at the end of the day, each teacher, at the end of the observation, is either a teacher falls into inadequate, requires improvement, good, or outstanding. So whichever score you fall into, whichever percentage you fall into, there is a position for you. So it's either you fall into any of these 4 categories. We expect that for teachers that are inadequate from our baseline reports, as a result of this project, we expect that teachers that are inadequate as either move to being requires improvement. In fact, we don't even want to see any teacher that requires improvement. We want to see good teachers. We want to see teachers that are standing in our various public schools.
At the end of the project, after 3 evaluations, the teacher have improved from where they were to a position where they can be trusted to impact learners appropriately. This diagram shows the comparison between the baseline performance and the endline performance of teachers. As shown, the percentage of outstanding teachers grew from 19% at the beginning to 24%. Percentage of good teachers grew by 19%, 40 to 59. Those who require improvement has reduced from 32% to 15%, and percentage of inadequate reduced from 9% to 3%. It is worthy of note that the CITPPST training have also impacted on the behaviors, attitude, and mindset of the teachers. Here are some testimonies.
When a child is very poor academically, we Yoruba we say Olodo. And that from birth we said it is from birth that I know that it is very, very bad to label a child an Olodo. By coming in, they introduce a 21st century teaching skill to us. From it, we are able to know that when you are teaching students, you let them collaborate with each other. From there, they learn from each other. Children learn from each other. Initially, I don't know that. I believe students only learn from teachers. But from the training given to us by BAP, I was able to know that you allow children to collaborate, learn from each other.
I've learned about how to use the assessment, the feedback, and the emotional about the pupil. Because we are taught that not everything is assessment or is a measurement. So we need to know more about the pupils. We need to know what makes them not to be participating fully well in the class. All these are going to help us in achieving our aim and even to make us proud as a teacher.
My name is Ayokwe Jideaka, and I serve in an advisory capacity to the foundation on their various programs. This program, that's the CITPPST, has been on for about a year now, and we're bringing it to a close. And in addition to that, I also serve as a facilitator and a trainer of the facilitators on this program, and it's really been exciting to see teachers coming, wondering what this is all about, to them learning and then exhibiting what they have learned. You can hear there's a lot of conversations going on in the background, and that's what we call constructive noise, debating what to do with what they have learned and actually putting it into practice. And the most exciting part for me is actually going into the classrooms and seeing them put to use what they have learned, in spite of a number of other training programs that are going. When you walk into a BAF school, as we like to call those schools, you can see a number of things that they have learned, and you can see them put it into practice. So to the teachers, I'll say the only thing to do with what you have learned is to use it. Otherwise, you would have wasted your time and the time of the foundation and all the resources that have gone into this. So I wish everyone the very best, and I'm looking forward to the next phase of the BAF programs.
For Bunmi Adedayo Foundation is a real good foundation because they've done a lot without contributing from our own side. In fact, with the money they have spent, their time, we really appreciate them. I will give them awesome praise right now. A W E S O M E. You are awesome, awesome, totally.
Through training partnership with other organizations, all participants also received additional trainings in different areas that would help them in the classroom. Trauma Care International Foundation trained the teachers on FIRST and CPR. Junior Achievement Nigeria trained them on financial literacy for teachers. Patrick Speech and Language Center exposed them to techniques for managing special kids learners. Pinnacle Medical Services facilitated sections on mental health for teachers. The Max Life Coaching helps them on emotional intelligence in the teaching profession. This project has reached 885 classroom teachers, 179 school heads, and over 42,000 primary school pupils across 75 schools in 5 local government areas in 1 year. In 10 years, these trained classroom teachers would have professionally taught over 420,000 the right way.